We're back to the Neil Haley show. This is such an exciting thing. In the last months, I've been interviewing this author, and I said soon to be author, now best-selling author, Grace Lynx Jenkins, author of Sight. Wow, it's got to feel great to be a best-selling author.
Oh yeah, it feels awesome. Absolutely awesome. I remember I was so nervous when we first released it. I was like, "Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to even get an order." And then late that night, my editor texts me and she's like, "It's a bestseller on Amazon." And I was like, "Oh my gosh. Let me call everyone and tell them." It feels so good. It feels really good.
I mean, it's you got to see it and said, "Wow," and it feels great because this is what you want to do, be an author. Explain that.
Oh yeah. What I want to do more than anything else is to just write books for a living if I can. That has been the dream ever since I was I think in high school. I've always kind of been like, it would be great if I could just write books for a living and be my own boss and share stories with people.
And I think that's the important thing. And that's where people that the book is out now, guys, and people have read it. Give some feedback, guys. I mean, because I just love the storyline, the whole supernatural thing with Noah to the other characters to really breaking down some barriers, as we talked about in last week's podcast.
Yeah. I am, yes, please, if you're able to, please review the book. It would mean the world to me. It would be great to know what people think.
Exactly. And they're going to love it. I know it because I've heard from your team that your writing is unbelievable, especially for your age. So you're just going to keep writing, right? You're already writing the next book, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, I'm already working on outlining my fantasy series as we speak. Um, just getting to the point where I'm okay with it. And then from there, I'll write out some drafts, get it edited, and then hopefully get it sent out, which this one should not take as long to write as Sight, I don't think, at least the first book anyway, because it's more like you've done it before. So you kind of know what to expect, and it's less daunting once you've already written a book because then it's like, oh, okay, I wrote one book. I can write another one.
And then write another one and then another one. Crank them out. Crank them out. Yeah, once you do something once and you feel really good about it, it's easier to do it a second time.
Oh yeah, exactly.
It's like, oh my gosh, why did it take me so much time to get to this point? And now I can do it much faster.
Yeah.
It's the try again method. Now, what are you going to do differently writing your second book that you did in your first book?
Well, I think for starters, with my second book, the outline is probably going to be a bit more detailed because this is a fantasy series. It's got a bunch of lore. I have different characters that I'm still working on because I'm not quite satisfied with them yet, but I think they'll get there. Um, and I just think that for the sake of the series not devolving into absolute madness toward the end, so that I don't write myself into a corner, I need to think of, okay, this is what happens all the way from the very first book to the last book. That way it'll be easier for me to go in and fill out all the pieces. I'm also writing things down lore wise and putting together a bunch of different stuff inside of one document. That way it's easier for me to keep track of the lore so that I don't have to deal with as many inconsistencies as I did when I was writing Sight, because I do know that there were a few inconsistencies because I was writing Sight over 3 years. So obviously you go back and you're like, I don't even remember writing that.
I don't remember writing this. I don't remember writing that. And keeping up with that character, especially this is going to be a series. So you're really going to be paying attention and writing to remember these characters moving into the next series, in the next book.
Yeah. it's never the big things that get you either. It's always the little things because it's like you'll forget one very specific detail, like eye color, or you'll forget that they said this thing or that they did this thing, and it'll be something minor. It's never something major, but it's those little things that'll add up where people will look at it and they'll go, huh, didn't it say earlier here that this character did this? Why are they now doing this thing? Or didn't this character have these color eyes? And it's normally your secondary characters where that happens. It's always the eye color for me with the secondary characters, always.
So this is a recommendation now as an AI movie maker. I'm going to start uh, coining that phrase. I am an AI movie maker. I never would have thought I'd say that because I say, how would I have time for it? But now I'm trying to carve out time helping my clients do this is we really have to be descriptive in our writing and descriptive when it comes to the characters and the scene, the setting, all the things I learned when I was a teacher in school teaching English. It's really important now.
Yeah.
It has to be so descriptive and so visual because when you have a character and it can't come to life, a lot of people who write books don't have illustrations, so they never get to see their characters come to life. I think that's more important than ever when people are reading.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Um, if you're going to present any character or any scene, you have to have details. Thankfully, the way it works for me, how I write is that I'll just see something in my mind and I'll be sitting there writing down what I'm seeing. And a lot of the times, the characters themselves and the emotional hits of the scene and a lot of those details, those are easier for me. When it comes down to it, I know also just writing down the descriptions of some characters have helped me as well, especially with the characters that just aren't as important to the plot, but they still do show up. If I can't always remember tiny details about them, but I can write it down and then come back to it and say, oh, this character had these color eyes and this color hair, and they did this. So I also draw my characters as well, which I do think does help quite a lot.
See, that is your secret genius. You are an artist, so you can see that those characters come to life, and that's what you're doing. Probably you've drew these fantasy characters even before they were created in certain ways.
Yeah, I did. I drew Noah, I drew Augustine, I drew the other self. The very first thing that I ever did when I got the idea for Sight was I sat down and I storyboarded just the scene at the very beginning of the book. And I was like, I gotta write this.
Now, my question to you is, do you want your characters to look like graphic novel characters or real human beings?
For me, it ultimately depends. Now, me personally, as somebody who's enjoyed anime quite a bit, I tend to prefer my characters in a more semi realistic anime style or in a more graphic novel style.
Mhm.
But I can also see the value in having them displayed as realistic as well, because a lot of people tend to prefer the realistic looking version rather than the more stylistic and
Exactly.
style.
All right. All right. So everyone needs to go to gracelynxjenkins.com and purchase an autographed signed copy from a best-selling author. Appreciate it, Grace. Thanks again.
You know,
All right. You're listening and watching The Neil Haley Show, and we'll be back in just a moment.